Welcome to Four Quarters. I'm the Atom Bomb, and Kyle, I haven't slept in the past 5 days trying to break down all these brackets.
Brackets came out 3 days ago.
Oh, jeez, really? Wow. I need to put myself together here. Okay, welcome to the Tourney show for the Tourney show for Four Quarters.
Get some sleep.
I'm sorry, yeah, I need some sleep. I'm the Atom Bomb.
And I'm Kyle McQueen.
And we'll get right down to it. One of our favorite topics of all.
Biggest snubs.
Biggest snubs. Who do you think was the biggest snub?
This year, I don't think there was that many snubs. Normally, there's a good
St. Mary's. Come on, St. Mary's.
I'll give you St. Mary's.
You heard Dick Vitale basically yell out for St. Mary's, and for the most part, I agree with it.
Normally, they give teams with injuries, they give them the benefit of the doubt, and Patty Mills was out for an extended period of time, so I'm surprised they didn't get in over Arizona, teams like that.
Arizona loses 5 of their last 6, and Maryland is 7-9 in their
Also, San
conference.
Diego State, you could argue, because they were
top
RPI for teams that didn't make it. But other than that, I don't think there's any super glaring snubs this year.
St. Mary's, just before I move on, besides losing 3 games to Gonzaga, they lost 3 other games. But you have a team like Maryland who's 7-9 in the ACC and loses at home to Morgan State. And another team I think who got snubbed, Auburn. Yes, they won 10 games in a weak SEC, and yes, to be consistent, when you think about them against Maryland, Auburn did lose at home to Mercer. But the fact is that everyone is talking about Maryland's run in the ACC. Auburn did pretty good themselves. They made the semis themselves.
The SEC is just.
But why is Maryland in over Auburn when Maryland, the ACC I thought was a bit overrated. Yes, UNC was great. Yes, Duke was great. But Wake and Clemson struggled towards the end of the season. Florida State is pretty good, but everyone was talking about this conference being so deep. I thought there was a few of the teams over, and I thought Maryland was one of them. But we'll move on to now seeding snubs.
All right, how do you feel about the seeding snub?
I tell you, the one thing that it happened 6 minutes into the selection show on CBS. UConn a 1 seed and Memphis a 2 seed. Memphis, according to Ken Pomeroy's ratings, if you go on to kenpom.com, you will see it. They're ranked number 1. Overall, I thought they had the best defense. And by the way, they have a 20-something game-winning streak. They destroyed the Conference USA, and within that span, they beat Tennessee. They whooped on Gonzaga, who I'll talk about later. But overall, Memphis, I would argue that they were my top overall seed, and they're a 2 seed overall under UConn, who got swept by Pitt and lost in their first conference tournament game.
I completely agree. I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I need some sleep. Memphis really is the only seed snub that I can really argue.
The one other thing is I didn't like Utah being a 5 seed, and I don't mean to get ahead, but I think Arizona has a great chance of beating them, and then everyone will validate Arizona. Why is Utah a 5 seed? In their first game of the season, they lost to Southwest Baptist, which I actually got there right after reciting it 100 times. I don't even know where they're at. Maybe they're in Texas. They're a Division II team. They lose to them at home. So why are they a 5 seed? But I guess overall it's nitpicking, I guess, right? And now, another favorite that we'd like to talk about. Dark horses. Overall to win it all. Who's your number 1 dark horse to win it all?
Number 1 to win it all. That's tough. I do like Cleveland State, not to win it all, but Cleveland State is a team. I think they'll beat Wake.
Yeah, they're dangerous.
Wake's young.
They beat Syracuse in Syracuse, and
I like them over Arizona or Utah, whoever. If they get past Wake, whoever they face there,
I would tend to agree with that.
I think they can give Louisville a run for their money. I don't think they'll beat them, but that's one of those games where you could see a nice upset.
Now for the big thing, who's the team that no one's really talking about, you think, might win it all?
Missouri.
I love that pick.
I love the 3 seeds. They never come through for me. Like Oakland, the Raiders, they never come through for me. But I will pick a 3 seed every year until one of them makes a run for it.
Remember back in 2003, Syracuse did win it all with him. I do love that pick. With Leo Lyons, DeMar Carroll, they're great players. Mike Anderson is getting that team. They make the most out of every possession on offense and defense. They have very good numbers and effective field goal percentage, offense and defense, according to Ken Pomeroy. But the one team that actually looks better than them is a 4 seed, and there's that team I was talking about before, Gonzaga. And I will tell you this, I will say right here, right now, they will face UNC in the Sweet 16 matchup. The winner of that game is my favorite to win it all. Because Gonzaga, think of this, again, talking about Ken Pomeroy, he does metrics, it breaks it down. You think about the last 5 champions, top 5 in adjusted offense and defense, except for Florida in their second title run. Their defense, it was still 12th. Still great. And all the teams, they had very good effective field goal percentage numbers, offense and defense. Gonzaga, top 10 in adjusted offense and adjusted defense, which is great. And basically top 10 numbers also for effective field goal percentage on offense and defense. And that scares me, even though they're a 4th seed, even though they're from the West Coast Conference. And there hasn't been a team outside the Big 6 conferences to win it all since UNLV in the early 90s. I still think if Gonzaga can beat UNC, they're my favorite to win it all.
My problem with that is Gonzaga, I think they're mentally weak and they're kind of soft.
I think this is the one year where they're not. This is the one year they're not. There's usually, for example, everyone was on them in the Adam Morrison days. Their defense wasn't that good. Now, I think they have it all.
I disagree. I think you get a team that can play defense against them, play rough against them.
I think
with some post presence, I think
top 10 in effective field goal percentage defense. For example, UNC, that's the one thing holding them back is their defense. Their defense can step up in a tournament and get them towards the numbers that favor champions, but Gonzaga's there right now, and that really stands out to me.
No. All right, what's next? I guess the opposite of dark horses.
Early exits, I guess. I personally, I want to start off with Oklahoma. Look, I love Blake Griffin. I know you love Blake Griffin. He's probably the player of the year, and I also like Willie Warren. But that's about all they have. And
I also think the Thunder should be tanking so you get Blake Griffin. But
that'd be smart. But I think about this in the 7-10 matchup. There's Clemson and Michigan. If Clemson beats Michigan, Clemson, they have a defense that presses you, and you have a player named Trevor Booker who's pretty good on the inside. I think they can contain Blake Griffin just enough, and that defense can press the rest of the team enough where if they beat Michigan, they will upset Oklahoma, and Oklahoma will be the 2 seed. There's usually 1 or 2 seeds that fall in the second round. Oklahoma is my pick.
All right, I have a couple. Obviously I talked about Cleveland State potentially upsetting Louisville. I think Louisville, they choke just about every year. And Cleveland State, maybe it's because of the Vikings. I don't know. I love that team. But also UConn, I feel like without Jerome Dyson, they're lacking. I think Purdue has a chance to upset them in the, what would it be, the Sweet 16?
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't think they can get past Memphis or Missouri, so I think they'll fall short of anything.
I will say this. There hasn't been a 1 seed to fall in the second round for a long time. And if you think about this, Louisville, they play the first 2 games in Dayton, and there's an 8-9 matchup between Ohio State and Siena. Ohio State, if they play Louisville in the second round, not only will they have a home crowd at Ohio State, but they will have a crowd rooting for the underdog. So I do kind of agree with that.